I can't do this anymore. All right, let's get that. I might just leave that playing in the background just while everyone's coming in. How are we? Welcome. Let me get rid of that. Okay, welcome. My name's Claire from Alphafitfemale. And the reason I wanted to jump on and do this mindset masterclass all around nourishing yourself, nourishing your body, it came about from a lot of conversations that I've been having recently, and also what I've been seeing with people going through my Find Your Fierce program. Some common themes have been coming up around the week that we do in terms of like nutrition, but more in terms of eating and triggers and identifying self-sabotage and things like that. So I thought, you know what, this is a very common subject that I know a lot of people are having their own little, don't like to say issues, but their own little journeys with. And I thought if I can get on, share a few little common themes that I've been seeing with people, then it might also help you as well. So let me just hold on one moment. Let's get this up. So I just want to get my content up for you guys tonight. So yeah, we're also definitely having a look tonight about how to eat and nourish your body in terms of overcoming self-sabotage, the emotional eating, and obsessing about your weight, you know. So this is where we will start. So it's a very common thing that I've seen. So, you know, for weeks or so, some people might have been following a nutrition plan or a new exercise regime or a new workout plan, and then they can start to see a little bit of momentum and a little bit of a result with their journey so far. Oh, hi Sarah, jumping on, hello. And then what happens is people tend to start obsessing a little bit with the scales. They've started to get a little bit of momentum to start off with, and then, you know, it becomes, first of all, a weekly habit, and then sometimes it can creep into every other day or even a daily habit. And it can be quite obsessive in the fact that it's not creating a positive relationship with your body, and it's not allowing you to take notice of how you're feeling in terms of your actual real progression. You know, your body weight fluctuates so much anyway during the day, during the week, during, like for a woman as well, during the monthly cycle. So, you know, to be jumping on the scales every day, it's not healthy from a mindset perspective, and it's also not a true reflection. You know, if you're following an exercise program or a new way of eating, you've got to trust that process, you know, and knowing that you're doing that, you'll know that you'll get the end result that you're looking for. You know, if you're not doing these things properly, then you don't need to jump on the scales, because you already know that you're not, you know, potentially, like if you're creeping onto the scales, like, oh, I hope it's going to be okay. And then you're like, oh, yes, it's fine. And then you're like, phew, you know, I've done okay. And it puts you on this whole emotional roller coaster ride, which, if you just trust yourself, know that you're taking the right action to follow the steps to get to where you need to be, then, you know, you can lose that emotional roller coaster, you know, every week or every day with the scales. The other thing that I don't really like about weighing scales and checking your weight regularly is, you know, we've all been there. Like, I've been there myself as well, and especially when I used to compete, it'd be like, wake up in the morning, you know, you've done everything, you know, you're on track, you know, you've done all the right steps that you needed to. Be like, right, I'm going to go get on the scales, and you know, you even look at yourself, you're like, yeah, I look really good, and you can maybe see like some more definition coming through, or you can feel that you're feeling slimmer, you feel lighter, and then you go and get on the scales, and it tells you a number that you didn't want, and then your whole mood and your whole perspective can just crash. And then it's like, wow, total switch in your state and your mood and your energy. And, you know, from that point onwards, for the rest of your day, your potential of the changes and the choices that you are going to make are going to be totally different. You know, like if you'd have just kept going past the bathroom scales and, you know, got into the kitchen, got ready for the day and stayed with that feeling, you know, you'd have been feeling so different in terms of an energetic perspective, in terms of a wellness and feeling good about yourself, you know. But we went to the scales, we jumped on them, and then they're telling us a number, and it's like, total, like I'm remembering it myself when I've done it before, and you just feel like your whole energy shifts and you just become heavy. And then it's like that's when those self-sabotage thoughts can come in and they start to trigger you. Oh, I'm not good enough, I didn't do that, oh, I'm rubbish, or I'm fat, or I'm heavy, or I'm ugly, or whatever those words are that someone says to themselves when they're not happy with what the numbers say on the scales. They wouldn't have been saying to themselves if they hadn't got on the scales. If they just stayed with that feeling of what they had and trusted themselves when they first got out of bed and felt how they felt that morning, total language, which in their self-talk, going to be a lot different to that, devaluing, negative, like rah, 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 you're rubbish kind of talk. So one of the first things that I highly recommend, if you're looking to nourish yourself from that perspective, then ditch the scales, get rid of them. We don't need them. Yes, it's okay to get on them every now and then so you can kind of track. If you can track in a way that's not being obsessive or unhealthy for you, then do it. I think my bathroom scales are covered in dust right now, to be honest. But because you know how you feel, you know how you look, and you also know by how your clothes feel. And use those as your signs, if you like, that you're on track with where you want to get to, and use that as your way to monitor your progress. I'm a big believer in having a look at before and after photos, and maybe doing body measurements, like physical measurements, so you can see when you're coming down if you're looking to lose weight, and also if you're looking to change your shape in terms of muscularity and definition, then definitely photos will show you that progression, because when you see yourself every day, it's really hard to see those changes. And if you're doing them, say, every 4 weeks, then you can see the shifts. So definitely, lose those scales. You are more than just a number. You can totally change your whole perspective on a day by getting on the scales. Like I said, it can put you in a bad mood. It can make you feel rubbish about yourself. So then, are you going to make the best choices in terms of your food choices that day? Are you going to make the best choices in terms of if you can go out for exercise? Are you going to end up feeling down on yourself all day? Are you going to feel grumpy? Are you then going to be maybe not having the best positive interactions with people? And then that's going to reinforce your feelings of, oh, this is rubbish, I'm no good, because of the way that you projected that feeling into those interactions with other people. So get out of bed. If you feel good, stay that way. Don't go near the bathroom scales. Stay in that feeling, own it, trust the process that you're going through, and know that you are doing all that you need to do. And like I said, that's really going to help to overcome that self-sabotage and emotional roller coaster with the scales. The other point that I wanted to talk about this evening in terms of emotional eating is learning how to recognize what your triggers are. Have a think about how you're feeling when you're eating a certain type of food. Like, for instance, I know that when I'm feeling tired, or if I've been doing too much and not allowing myself enough rest, that's when I tend to go and want to crave some toast or something. I'll have some toast and butter in late in the evening. And when I find that I'm doing that, I'm like, okay, here we go. I've been, running myself a bit too ragged, or, spreading myself too thin. I need to pull back and do exercise, some self-care, and look after myself. So a lot of people tend to have their danger times, especially women, and especially like busy mums, if that's you as well, in the evenings. The kids have gone to bed, you've done your day of work, you've done all your housework, and you sit down on the sofa and it's like, right, now this is my time. And it's just trying to rewire those thought patterns. So, instead of coming out of the kids' bedroom and walking straight into the kitchen to go and see what you could treat yourself with, go and walk into a different room. Change that habit to change the state and the outcome. So, like I said, if you always leave your kids' bedroom, go straight to the kitchen, go to the bathroom, maybe run yourself a bath, maybe go to your bedroom, sit down and read a magazine or read a book for a little while, or go straight into your lounge and sit down and have a cuddle with your partner, or, do something that's going to be serving you in a different way. And you know, I'm not saying don't eat anything in the evenings or anything like that, but if you're finding that that's your danger time where you tend to overeat, try and put some strategies in place where, you know, you're going to be reducing the chance of this. Maybe have your dinner earlier in the day, so then, you know, when you're winding down in the evening, you know, you're not eating because you've eaten already and you're feeling fuller, so you won't need to keep eating, if that makes sense. You know, there's a great wide range of, you know, different herbal teas out there that you can have. Like, you know, have, if you fancy something as well, like have it, but just have a tiny little bit and make sure it's good quality as well. You know, if you find that you're going to the cupboards and trying to look for something because you're feeling, say, empty or bored or lonely or like unloved or anything like that, then it's a lot better and a lot more productive in the long term to spend time addressing that emotion and trying to address that and change that, rather than filling the void by stuffing your face, if that makes sense. You know, there's I think it's a Chinese philosophy, or it's in Ayurvedic medicine actually, that if you listen to your cravings, say if you're craving something sweet, then it might be that there's not enough sweetness in your life, so then maybe try to put something more sweet into your life in terms of things that pleasure you and give you joy and lift you up, rather than satisfying your taste buds. So, you know, if you're doing more of the things that you love, then, you know, you're going to be spending less time in the kitchen. So it's trying to work out what those things are for you, so you can actively do more of those as well. Also, you know, apart from the late night eating for any of those reasons, it's also having a look at how you eat emotionally in response to different situations and scenarios. You know, some people, when they get really stressed, that they pick and they eat a lot. Some other people, when they get stressed, they don't eat at all. Some people, when they get sad or feeling a little bit low, they'll eat, and they'll comfort eat, and like I said before, boredom. But there's generally one state which you're in where people don't tend to overeat, and that's when you're happy, or that's when you're excited. You know, you know that feeling, and it's like, well, I'm not going to go and eat. You don't feel like eating. Yes, you know, in a social situation when you're happy and you're enjoying yourself, like that can be associated with food. For instance, if you're having family dinners or social get-togethers, if you can right now, mine's a meal for one. But you know, it's having that association with you know, being happy and being in the moment. You're a lot more present, so then you're less likely to go and choose the foods that might not be right for you, for where you want to get to with your goals. And then it's also trying not to have any attachment to food. You know, at the end of the day, food is food. I don't really like labeling food good or bad, or, you know, healthy or unhealthy. It's just food. You know, it gives us fuel. It can either fuel us in a good way, or it can fuel us in a bad way. So I just kind of use those terms that I said, didn't I? But you get what I'm trying to say. You know, it's like we should have in our food, in our diet, I don't like the word diet either, so I was trying to be mindful of the word I was going to use then. In the way that we eat, ideally, we want to be having some form of carbohydrate, some form of protein, some form of fat. Whatever that looks like for you, for whatever eating regime that you want to follow, you need to be having the right blend of those and the right balance of those to feed your body, so you're getting all the nutrients into you, so you're not you won't become nutrient deficient. You know, we want to amplify our health and our wellness by putting the right food in. And then if we're feeling good in our body by feeding it correctly, that in turn is going to help to feed our emotions. And when you're feeling good, your mindset's going to be good. And so then those emotional eating triggers, they will potentially be shifted. So then there will no longer be a problem. So it's all about, rather than reacting, you know, if you find that you've got a craving, or if you find that you're walking to the kitchen, or you're starting to have, like, you know, a lot of food that you're trying to avoid binging on or something like that, take the time to pause, step back, and then ask yourself, you know, what is really going on right now? Is it that you've had a busy day? Is it that you've had an argument with someone and you're not feeling very good? Is it that you just want to phone your girlfriend and just like chew her ear off and say, rah, 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 this happened to me today? You know, that's going to be a lot healthier way to get the emotion out, rather than suppressing it by getting food in. So really try to look at what's driving you or triggering you to make those actions and make the choices to go and eat the foods that you don't want to. And once you've identified those scenarios and situations where you can see that it's a familiar pattern and a habit, once you can start to see those, then you can start to think, okay, so what's triggering me here? Like, this has happened and then this is the outcome. Oh, that's happened again there and that was the outcome, and it's the same. So then you can start to see a patterns forming. So then you take it one step further and you think, right, okay, I now know this is my trigger. This is what I'm going to try to avoid. So then it's taking the time to actively write down all the different strategies that you can think of that are going to prevent you getting to this place where you're triggered. So it's kind of like you've got a little tool belt now. So it's like, this is one of your tools in your tool belt. So you've got strategies to make sure you don't get to that point. But then also it's about, okay, so if I do get to this point, instead of that triggering me to get me here, let me use it to trigger and get somewhere else. So it's having an alternative outcome. If that situation does arrive, what would be a better way to react to that situation if you have ended up being reacted by it, if that makes sense, reacted to it. Yeah, that's better English. And then it's you can do that with practice and with time, and allowing yourself to take that pause, take a deep breath and go, okay, what is really going on? And then just assessing the situation, no matter what it is. And then just having more awareness. So then you can, like I said, build up these strategies to prevent it happening, or having alternative outcome objectives that you'd like to achieve. So, that's how you're going to overcome those emotional eating and those self-sabotage triggers. And then, like I said, if we're linking that all together with eating the right blend of nutrition and getting the right nutrients into us, then those instances, because we're going to be feeling better within ourselves and about ourselves, then those instances will be reduced anyway. So yeah, that was what I wanted to talk to you ladies about this evening. So we've covered off how you can lose the obsession with the scales, what's a better thing to do and what else to focus on, had a look at some common triggers, and we've also had a look at how to avoid those being triggered and overcoming those self-sabotage strategies, or implementing strategies to overcome self-sabotage, I should say. So I hope you found that useful. I'm very aware I've given you a lot of information and blurbed at you. So if you've got any questions, write them in the chat box now, that's fine. Otherwise I will be posting this video out to my social. So if you're watching this from you're welcome, Sarah, thank you. If you're watching this from any of my social points, then just send me a DM or write a comment in the box below. So it's Claire and I am from Alphafitfemale, and I'm all about empowering women to find their fierce and be the best possible versions of themselves that they can be. My next Find Your Fierce program will be starting probably middle of November, and in that we'll be covering the foundations for creating wellness in terms of we dive a little bit deeper into self-sabotage, eating behaviors, triggers, emotional eating, what your food beliefs are, everything like that. We'll also have a look at creating a positive mindset, a gratitude practice, how to turn around self-talk, starting to change your perspective to be more positive. We have a look at how movement and exercise impacts your mood and how you can feel healthier, but also love the skin that you're in and love your body where you are where you're at. And then we also have a look at connecting you to your passions and getting you fired up to go and take the world on. So you definitely feel empowered, you feel fearless, you find the alpha within, and definitely go find your fierce. So if you want any more information about that program, by all means, I'll be adding a little link to this social video anyway. But otherwise, thank you for spending the last 20 minutes or so with me, and I will talk to you all soon. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.